It is another beautiful day in the crypto markets. I'm Maximilian, your crypto broker, and in today's market roundup, I'm going to quickly take you through today's top winners and losers, including Ontology and TENX, and also looking at today's top story, which is Twitter bans cryptocurrency advertising as of today. Should be quite interesting to see the FUD surrounding that story. But let's not hang about, let's jump into today's markets. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to quickly go through today's markets. It's Tuesday, the 27th of March. Total market cap floating around the 300 billion mark. We have dropped beneath that over the last few hours, right now at 302 billion. Bitcoin's dominance just under 45%, with a daily volume today overall of 16.4 billion, which isn't very high or incredibly low. It's a little bit meh. Okay, but looking at the top 20, I think it's pretty clear to see we're in the red today. Majority of the top 20 are between 5 and 8 and 10% down. If we scroll down further, it looks like Tron again, just staying above water. We've seen Verge have a good old pump. I know they've just recently raised over $3 million from their community to release a news story regarding a new partner. Obviously, they like the sound of that, so we've got a good, decent pump here. Verge up 26%. What else? Ontology up in the green, around 7%. We're going to quickly speak about that shortly. Today's biggest winners or losers. Let's take a quick look. Biggest win at the moment, as we've already said, Verge. Looks like Bat's not doing too bad either, up over a decent 20%. Got Ontology down here. PIVX, been sitting in the background for a while now. Good to see it up and not doing too badly. Today's biggest losers, TENX, which we're going to speak about. Just released some news recently from their CEO Julian. We'll talk about that just shortly. Looks like Storm still going a decent sell-off after their massive pump they had over the last few days. Litecoin also down fair amount. We've just heard recently that LitePay has been postponed, if not cancelled. So that can't be very good. But jumping into today's two main cryptos we're going to talk about. Firstly is Ontology. Let's quickly refresh this. So Ontology up around 6% at the moment at $1.74. So Ontology, just to give you an idea, has just recently hit the market over the last, I think it's been on the market less than a month now, roughly. They did an airdrop, so there was no ICO. You got the airdrops by subscribing to them early enough, or of course holding Neo in a Neo wallet. You were given a certain amount of Ontology in relation to how much Neo you owned, which is quite cool. They are also doing some more airdrops in the near future. I will update you guys on that, so you can get involved. Right now, very, very decent and very healthy trading volume of just under $60 million, with a market cap of 420 million, which makes it the 33rd biggest crypto on the market as of today, which is, a really great start considering they're fresh out of the gates. I think that's what people say. If we scroll down and take a look at when they did actually initially come out and hit the open market, was the 8th of March. Yes, so roughly 20 days ago. As you can see, as it usually tends to happen, you have a big spike, and then all the ICO, not the ICO people, because there wasn't an ICO, but maybe the people with these free airdrops just dumped it all. I know I kept mine. I won't be selling Ontology for a long time, but I'm an A-grade hodler. As you can see, pretty much held its value for the majority of this FUD we've had over the last maybe month, as Bitcoin's slowly but surely lost value. It still continued to hold its value, and at the moment is on an upward trajectory, which can only be good. Taking a quick look into Ontology, what they are, what they represent. So in layman's terms, before we dig any deeper, is that it's an infrastructure layer for public blockchains. So what they're working with initially is, of course, Neo, and building a trust contract infrastructure layer. I know that sounds quite, confusing, but basically what we're dying for at the moment, most of these ICOs and most of these blockchains, is for a identity, I would say, software or an identity protocol to allow people to share their ID or share their identity without having to, make it public like we do nowadays. If we want to maybe sign up for a particular email listing or for I don't know, a project, they ask us our first name, our last name, our email address, maybe even our phone number. So what they're trying to do is build this protocol layer that allows people to share data and share information and share KYC, know your customer information, over public blockchains without having to make it public, which I think is really cool. They're also looking into big data. We all know that big data is, of course, big and will only continue to grow as we go into AI and into more and more blockchain and digital-based economies. They also do help with trust scores as well, so to basically assign a trust score to certain individuals or maybe even certain businesses. Okay, so what is ontology? Just going to give it to you in layman's terms. Is that, here we go, ontology is a new high-performance public blockchain and a distributed trust collaboration platform. Just a few notes that I've written here just to give you a better understanding. By the way, this is quite a complicated project because it's doing a lot of different things. But what I've written is, as the foundational infrastructure of trust contract ecosystems, ontology supports the development and upkeep of decentralized technology and data systems. Ontology will constantly provide common modules on the underlying infrastructure for different kinds of distributed scenarios. So a few examples of those is distributed digital identity framework, distributed data exchange, and this will be so dApp developers and decentralized economies will be able to use ontology or piggyback off ontology and its infrastructure level to make their projects better, to allow them to do these KYC details, to use this big data properly, and of course to ultimately make this whole industry a lot safer, a lot more transparent, and hopefully a lot better. The few modules that I've discussed already, or just mentioned them, so here they are here. So there's the ONTID, a complete distributed identity framework supporting identity verification and authentication for people's assets, objects, and affairs. So, like I've said already, when we go around and we subscribe to certain things, or we sign up with things, or even when you download an app on your phone, they ask you for all this different data or all this different, to allow your location to be public, to allow your details to be public. What ontology and a lot of other projects are trying to crack now, depending on who will do it first, is to make all this data actually private. However, you are able to share it, across different companies or different people, but without it being out in the open and on a centralized server somewhere. What I also thought was quite cool is the ONT scores. ONT scores provide support for various businesses to develop different credit evaluation logic according to distributed credible data. Like I said to you guys, ontology is very good at making things sound really complicated. But I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. And then a few of the scenarios they're going to use it for. So here, firstly, again, talking about data, users can collect and manage their own identity data from various sources, including public institutions like banks, businesses, families, colleagues, and friends, and I'm assuming probably hospitals and all the rest of those public sort of sectors as well. Which I thought was also very cool is that you've got identity for your objects. Now, you'll see a lot of these cryptos coming out at the moment. Let's use an example like gaming. If you're a Call of Duty player and you really like this certain skin, you want to be able to put your name to it and say that you own it, and you're able to store it safely somewhere. And this is what Ontology are trying to do as well. Digital identities of physical objects can be registered on the distributed network under the supervision of the product owners or producers. So that's cool. You can go ahead and register your goods or register some things you own, which I think in the future will be something that will be very, very big. And then lastly, we've discussed big data already. Distributed data exchange. In the data exchange system, all data can be discovered and traded whilst meeting individual privacy requirements. So these are all things that you may not think are very important right now, but the very, very clever people behind Ontology are trying to build the future and build this infrastructure layer. So we need to take Ontology very, very seriously. Talking about seriously, their team is mega serious. Let's quickly just jump into their team. They are backed also by Dahong Fei. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly, but Dahong Fei is the founder of Neo. He's very bullish on this, and of course he's doing everything he can to help with this project. If you just scroll down, Jung Lee and Dahong Fei are also very close. I've actually got an image I'll just show you now of the two together. If you scroll down slowly but surely, a lot of developers, a lot of experience. We've got a team of almost 30 odd here. More actually. Wow. Yeah, there's a huge amount. What looks like a lot of young, passionate, and hopefully clever people. So let's see where this big team can take us. But when I was talking about Jung Lee and Dahong Fei, I've got a little image here for you guys. There's the two there looking, pretty cool. I do really take teams and projects incredibly seriously. Sometimes even before looking at the technology, I'll look at the teams and see which teams have got potentially the longevity behind them. Because in crypto, very quickly can an investment you make be worth zero because that project falls to the ground, or team members leave, or people just lose complete interest. Therefore, the team's not making any money, so they just shut up shop and move on. Remember, this place is unregulated, guys, so there are cowboys out there. But these guys aren't. These guys aren't cowboys. I've got a lot of faith in them. Yeah, so that's pretty much Ontology, the layman's terms description of it. I hope I've done it a little bit of justice. I hold Ontology. I will continue to hold Ontology. I do highly recommend for people to invest in Ontology. Just it's cheap now, guys. Even though no one paid for it in ICO, this is a very, very strong bullish project. Just to recap, rank 34. I'll come back in a few months' time. I'm almost certain that's going to be on the brisk of the top 10, if not potentially within the top 10 or top 5. Okay, cool. So let's move on to maybe some FUD, or maybe not FUD, but not the greatest news for TENX. So let's just refresh this. So TENX at the moment floating just above $1, which is incredibly low for it. It's now down 14% as of today. It has been down as high as 20% at stages today. Right now, trading volume of $5 million. For the amount of hype that surrounded TENX when it initially was released, that is not high enough. It's not low, but it's not big enough. It's nothing to be proud of. Market cap of 112 million right now. That as well is a lot lower. I know they've surpassed 250 odd, if not higher. I think it was about 300 odd million at one stage. 112 million makes them the 93rd biggest crypto on the market right now. And let's just take a quick look at how they have performed in the past. So we hit the market in July. There was a big rush to hit the market between TENX and Monaco Card. They hit the market, like I said, there was a hell of a lot of hype. Look at this, just literally straight up, and we got to $5.33 with a market cap of 557 million. That's a $500 million company there within a week, within a few weeks of hitting the exchange. We've obviously seen a slow decline downward, and that's pretty much been the case ever since. It's struggled to hold above $2, $3 over the last few weeks. As we can see, I think a decent price for this, a fair price, is around $2.50. But if you want to pick up some cheap 10x, go ahead now. But why is it low today? This is why I'm actually here to bring you. First of all, so they released some news. This news is in the form of a new blog post. Keep in mind that 10x and Julian, their CEO, are very good with speaking with the community and doing videos and doing updates and Twitter and all the rest of it. Maybe too much, really. I do sometimes think of what are they doing with the rest of their time. But yeah, so there's been an update, and the update hasn't gone incredibly well. But that does tend to happen in crypto, where buy the rumor, sell the news. In the update, there's been one or two things that they've discussed. Just looking at here now, in layman's terms, they updated everyone on a new partner for their US card provider, a new partner in the EU for their cards, a new partner for Asia, and then lastly, they're looking to get a banking license in the EU. Now, I'm very involved in most of these cryptocurrencies that are looking to allow people to spend, and we know that the banking license is a real big coup that everyone's looking forward to. I know Monaco Card are really into it. They're also now potentially moving to Malta to try secure that. But according to Julian, who is, like I said, very loud and proud about what 10x do, he said that they're on the brink of securing a banking license, which should be ready by, if my notes are correct here, end of Q2. Q2 is literally just around the corner. They have already missed deadlines, and they did say that here, that they're not going to put in hard deadlines in the future. But what he's saying here about his banking license, I'll just play for you guys. Let's make that big.
This is another topic I want to talk about, the banking license. So as you know, we are in the process of getting our banking license in Europe. I just spoke to the person in charge, Jana, who is our Chief Compliance Officer. She told me that we are completely on track. This is looking very, very good. And obviously this banking license allows us to be way more independent. We're not going to be relying as much on other partners as we are right now, because there's a lot of things that we can start doing ourselves. Big caveat on this. First of all, obviously there can be roadblocks that might be popping up out of nowhere, even though right now it doesn't look like it. And also, just because we are going to get the banking license doesn't mean that the next day we can actually issue cards ourselves.
Well, there we go. He said it straight from the horse's mouth. So they're doing their very best to get this banking license. However, there's a lot of potential stumbling blocks along the way. He sounds very confident, to be fair, saying that he would be able to do this by Q2. But what he's also saying is that if they were to get this banking license, it does not fix this issue of being able to issue your own cards. They're still going to have to continue to go through third-party providers like Wirecard. So yeah, it does say here, so for the bad news, since the last quarter of 2017, we've been working closely with a single issuer to be able to issue new cards to you guys by the end of Q1 2018. Unfortunately, we've had to submit to the fact that we are not going to meet this estimated timeline. We've had a contract signed with this particular issuer for approximately 6 months, but factors outside of our control have caused continuous delays with the issuance of cards. Now, if you're going to be a payment processor company, first and foremost, compliance. This is where I think 10x have missed the boat. Is that they kind of wanted to be this community-based cryptocurrency, which is great, don't get me wrong, However, when you're being a payment processor, all people really care about at the end of the day is compliance. And obviously they haven't taken it seriously enough. The fact that the issuer was only willing to give them 6 months, a contract for 6 months, really just shows you that the issuer wasn't really too confident in them either. So yeah, what else have I got here for you guys? Alright, so so just looking through the TENX website, I'm not really going to go into too much detail here. A lot of you know all about TENX already. I just wanted to update the market really on TENX and why we're down so much today. I know a lot of people out there did commit to this ICO and I've hodled it for a long time. I myself don't own any TENX, so maybe I'm a little bit biased or unbiased. And yeah, that's pretty much it for TENX. Lastly, so I don't keep you guys any longer, today's story, Twitter will ban ICO ads starting, well, this is today. I thought this was going to be big news, which it is really, considering we've now seen Facebook also come in and look to not ban it, but pretty much stop it so they can sort out the regulation behind it and their T's and C's. We've also seen Google do it and Alphabet. So yeah, there's a quote here which comes from CNBC. All ads related to initial coin offerings, ICOs, token sales, exchanges, and wallet services, excluding public companies listed on the major stock markets, will be removed from the site, according to this announcement from CNBC. So that's quite interesting as well, is that they say here everything's going to be removed, besides any public companies listed on major stock markets. You know what that means? That means that these companies are regulated, that they are, having to jump through hoops to make the regulator happy. So it's fine for them to, market their goods and services. So this kind of just shows you is that all these big influencer companies, Facebook, Twitter, Google, have kind of had to put the back burners on, put the brakes on, and be like, hey guys, we need to kind of stop this right now. We need to look into our regulations. We need to look into how we're going to abide by these things going into the future. The same applies to all these different countries like Korea, Japan, Russia, the UK, especially China, that they've kind of had to either stop things or step back and be like, we need to wait for regulation. And regulation isn't bad. Regulation could be good as long as it's done fairly. That's about it for today, guys. I've gone on again way too long. But please, if you've enjoyed listening to me and my market reports, please do give us a thumbs up. It really helps for us to be found. As well as subscribe if you want to hear from me every day. I'm literally going to try to do this every single day, besides Sundays. But yeah, thank you again for listening, and till next time.